Hi. So the topic we're going to be debating today is pretty relevant. It's come up in the news a lot, and it really means a lot to a lot of people. Where I'm going to be arguing that President Obama should not have publicly declared his support for gay marriage. And I've got a bunch of reasons why I think this is true. So the first of all is essentially just political expediency. I don't think it was politically very sound a move to make. Why is this? Because the people who are really, really pro-gay marriage, your young, college-educated liberal types, they're gonna vote for Obama anyway. But Obama's announcement kind of tips the scales against him in swing states like Indiana or North Carolina that could be really, really important in the future. Because if you look at the electoral map for 2012, it's going to be a lot closer than 2008. He can't rely on just the liberal base anymore. He's going to be having to fight Romney in North Carolina or even Pennsylvania. And in those states, his newfound stance will be a liability for him. But more than that, even if he truly believes that gay marriage should be a thing, I think by coming out so publicly, he's kind of polarized the issue. He's made it something that the Republicans will vehemently oppose, if only because the Democratic president has endorsed it. If he kept silent, there could be more bipartisan consensus.
So, recent polls in the United States have actually shown that the majority of people in most states actually support gay marriage. This is partially because of a recent youth poll of all the kids who were born in the 90s tend to be more liberal, more accepting of gay marriage than their parents are. But also, even though this is true, I don't actually think that gay marriage is that important to the average American voter. Looking at all the things the United States is facing, an economic recession, well, technically we're out of the recession, but continued sort of economic stagnation, the fact that a lot of people don't have jobs, a lot of people don't know how they're going to pay off their mortgage, other issues like foreign policy, the fact that it's only now that the United States is pulling out of Afghanistan. In reality, gay marriage is not going to be the tipping point for how people in swing states actually vote. What's going to make a big difference, though, is having that liberal base that Rashad talks about as saying is not that important, having that base out there to mobilize for Obama and to help him. Because even though a lot of those people were going to vote for Obama anyway, there's a lot of really dissatisfied liberals. There's a lot of people, sort of college students our age, who've come of age watching Obama make a lot of promises, like caring about civil rights and saying that human rights, which I think a lot of people would agree gay marriage falls under, sort of within American culture, and then him going back on those promises, and him not upholding the kind of promises he made that got him elected. So I think there's a lot of dissatisfaction on the part of the liberal base, and that Obama actually does need to reach out to those voters, because those are the voters going to make phone calls, go door to door, and make sure that he wins the next election.
So, yes, it's true that if you look at like a very broad measure of the United States, a very broad measure of demographics, popular support for gay marriage has increased. But the problem is that in the swing states that matter, North Carolina recently passed an amendment to the state constitution categorically banning gay marriage. And it was massively, the vote was massively in favor of passing this amendment. So in the swing states that matter, and in the types of voters Obama is trying to appeal to, gay marriage is still a much bigger issue. And as Katie points out, we are effectively in a recession right now. The economy is not a strong spot for Obama. If anything, he should be trying to distract from the economy. But he shouldn't be destroying his credibility on social issues with the swing voters that matter. This is especially true because, Katie talks about college liberals, but a huge portion of Obama's base, a huge portion of the people who mobilized for him in 2008 were actually members of the African American community. And as we saw in California with Proposition 8, the African American community actually tends to be relatively anti-gay marriage. So I think that by playing to like the Occupy Wall Street economically populist sentiments, Obama could win both the African American community and the college-educated liberal community, as well as like the populist white voter community, without alienating any of them as he has with his gay marriage.
What Rashad refuses to acknowledge is that not only, so we've talked a lot about sort of like how elections work and election strategy, but he's also refused to acknowledge sort of the basic questions of human rights that we're talking about. Because Obama was elected on a platform of human rights and of sort of elevating the United States to a higher level. I think this is especially important considering that Obama is the son of a black father and a white mother, something that would be illegal for a lot of the same reasons. People give a lot of the same rationales for why gay marriage should be illegal that they used to give for why interracial marriage should be illegal. It's unnatural. It'll break the social order. All kinds of things that we know now aren't true. There isn't really a convincing argument of why gay marriage should be illegal, except that some people don't like it, or some people say it's against their religion. But there's no sort of compelling reason why the government should necessarily believe that's true. The government doesn't just sort of say because you have a religious belief, therefore something that we recognize as a right in almost every other capacity. Civil unions are one step away from marriage and are recognized in most states. The fact that someone like Obama, again, someone who campaigned and really told the voters that he believed in social justice and human rights, wouldn't come out and say this, I think Obama should have done this in his first year in office and shouldn't have waited this long. There's a lot of people who sort of had broken hopes by the fact that he hasn't done more for the gay community, which worked very hard to get him elected, but also just as a leader, as a moral leader in the United States and also the world, he should, and thankfully did, step up to the plate to support this fundamental human right in the United States.